You've felt it, haven't you? That invisible wall between you and everyone else. That moment when you're surrounded by people but feel completely alone. When conversations feel shallow, when small talk makes your skin crawl, when you'd rather spend Friday night reading than pretending to care about things that don't matter. And you've probably been told you're antisocial, that you're missing out, that you need to get out more and connect with people. But what if I told you that your instinct to distance yourself isn't a flaw? What if it's actually a sign of intelligence? Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who revolutionized our understanding of the human psyche, spent decades studying this exact phenomenon, and what he discovered will change how you see yourself forever. Because the truth is, intelligent people don't distance themselves from others by accident. They do it by necessity. You see, Jung understood something most people refuse to accept, that consciousness comes with a price. The more aware you become, the more isolated you feel. The deeper you think, the fewer people can follow you there. And the more you understand about human nature, the less tolerance you have for pretense and superficiality. This isn't about being superior. This isn't about thinking you're better than everyone else. This is about recognizing a fundamental truth that Jung discovered through years of research and clinical practice. Intelligent people experience the world differently, and that difference naturally creates distance. But here's what Jung also knew, NS, and what no one tells you. This distance isn't something to cure. It's something to understand, embrace, and use as a tool for becoming who you're truly meant to be. Jung called it the curse of consciousness. The more intelligent you are, the more you see. And the more you see, the harder it becomes to unsee it. While others live in comfortable ignorance, you're painfully aware of contradictions, hypocrisies, and the gap between what people say and what they actually do. You notice how people wear masks, what Jung called personas, social facades they put on to fit in, to be accepted, to avoid the discomfort of being truly known. And once you see these masks everywhere, genuine connection becomes nearly impossible. Because how can you connect with someone who isn't even being real? This is why intelligent people often feel like aliens in their own species. You're not broken, you're not defective, you're simply operating with a different level of awareness. Jung observed that highly intelligent individuals naturally withdraw because they intuitively understand that most social interactions are performative rather than authentic. Think about your last conversation at a party or social gathering. How much of it was real? How much was just people playing roles, following scripts, saying what they think they should say? If you're intelligent, you felt that hollowness. You felt the exhaustion of participating in something that felt fundamentally false. And this is where Jung's insight becomes crucial, that exhaustion isn't social anxiety. It's not introversion in the way most people understand it. It's your intelligence protecting itself from the drain of meaningless social interactions. Your mind is conserving energy for things that actually matter. But society tells you this is wrong. Society tells you to push through, to force yourself into these situations, to fake it till you make it. What society doesn't tell you is that this advice is designed for average minds, not exceptional ones. Jung understood that forcing an intelligent person into superficial social situations is like forcing a philosopher to spend their time discussing the weather. It's not just uncomfortable, it's a waste of intellectual resources. The intelligent person's natural inclination to withdraw isn't antisocial behavior, it's self-preservation. You're protecting your mental energy, your capacity for deep thought, your ability to focus on what truly matters. And Jung would tell you that this instinct is not only normal, it's necessary for psychological health. Here's where Jung's most revolutionary idea comes into play: individuation. This is the process by which a person integrates their unconscious with their conscious mind to become a complete, authentic individual. And here's the catch: true individuation requires separation from the collective. Jung observed that most people never individuate because they're too afraid to separate from the group. They live their entire lives following collective values, collective beliefs, collective ways of being. They mistake conformity for connection and lose themselves in the process. But intelligent people, they can't help but question the collective. They see through mass delusions, popular myths, and social conventions that everyone else accepts without thinking. This questioning naturally creates distance because you can't simultaneously belong to a group and question everything the group believes. Jung would tell you that your discomfort with crowds, your preference for solitude, your difficulty with small talk, these aren't personality flaws. They're signs that you're beginning the individuation process. You're starting to separate your authentic self from the expectations and demands of others. This is why intelligent people often feel most comfortable alone or with one or two carefully chosen friends. It's not that they hate people, it's that they need space to think, to process, to become who they really are, without the constant pressure to conform to who others want them to be. The collective unconscious, another of Jung's key concepts, contains all the shared myths, symbols, and patterns that unite humanity. But accessing your personal unconscious, CT4, the unique aspects of your psyche, requires stepping away from collective influence. It requires the courage to be different, to think differently, to live differently. And this courage comes with a price: loneliness. Not the loneliness of being abandoned, but the loneliness of being misunderstood. Jung himself experienced this. He was often criticized, often misunderstood, often isolated from his peers because his ideas were too radical, too different, too threatening to the status quo. But Jung also understood something profound. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. When you're pursuing individuation, when you're becoming your authentic self, solitude becomes sacred. It becomes the space where you meet yourself without interference, where you can hear your own thoughts without the noise of other people's expectations. Jung's concept of the shadow, NGD, the hidden, repressed, or denied aspects of the self, in GD, provides another crucial understanding of why intelligent people withdraw. Because intelligent people are often more aware of their own darkness, their own contradictions, their own capacity for both good and evil. This awareness is overwhelming. While others live in denial about their shadow aspects, intelligent people are confronted with the full complexity of human nature, including their own. They see the beast beneath the beauty, the chaos beneath the order, the darkness that exists alongside the light. And here's what makes this even more isolating. When you're aware of your own shadow, you become aware of everyone else's too. You can see through people's pretenses, not because you're judgmental, but because you've done the hard work of seeing through your own. You recognize projection, denial, and unconscious behavior because you've confronted these things in yourself. This creates a profound loneliness because you can't discuss these observations with most people. They're not ready to hear that they have a shadow. They're not ready to examine their own darkness. So you learn to keep these insights to yourself, which creates more distance, more isolation. But Jung understood that this shadow work, this confrontation with the hidden aspects of the self, is essential for psychological development, and it can't be done in groups. It can't be done while you're busy managing other people's expectations or maintaining social facades. It requires solitude, contemplation, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. This is why intelligent people often prefer books to parties, why they'd rather spend time in nature than in crowds, why they choose deep conversations over small talk. They're not antisocial. They're doing the hard work of becoming conscious, of integrating their shadow, of becoming whole human beings. The irony is that by doing this individual work, by accepting their natural tendency towards solitude, intelligent people actually become more capable of genuine connection. Because once you've faced your own shadow, once you've done the work of individuation, you can relate to others from a place of authenticity rather than neediness or fear. So, What does Jung teach us about living as an intelligent person who naturally distances themselves from others? First, stop fighting it. Stop forcing yourself into social situations that drain you. Stop pretending to be interested in things that bore you. Stop apologizing for needing solitude. Jung would tell you that your need for space, your preference for meaningful over numerous relationships, your discomfort with superficial social interactions, AS, these are all signs that you're operating from a place of psychological health, not dysfunction. But, and this is crucial, Jung also understood that complete isolation is dangerous. The goal isn't to become a hermit. The goal is to find the right balance between solitude and connection, between individual development and human relationship. This means being selective about your social interactions. It means choosing quality over quantity in relationships. It means setting boundaries around your time and energy. It means learning to say no to invitations that don't serve your growth or well-being. Jung practiced what he called active imagination, a technique for engaging with unconscious material through solitude and reflection. He would retreat to his tower in Bollingen, where he could think, write, and explore his inner world without interruption. This wasn't escapism, it was essential psychological work. You need your own version of Bollingen. You need space that's completely yours, where you can think without interruption, where you can process your experiences, where you can engage in the deep work of becoming yourself. This might be a room in your house, a spot in nature, or simply a daily practice of solitude. And here's what Jung discovered. When you honor your need for solitude, when you stop forcing yourself into ill-fitting social situations, you actually become more attractive to the right people. Because authenticity is magnetic. When you're being genuinely yourself, rather than trying to please everyone, you attract others who appreciate that authenticity. The few deep relationships you form will be worth more than dozens of superficial ones. Jung had a small circle of close friends and colleagues who understood his work and appreciated his depth. He didn't need to be popular. He needed to be understood by the few who mattered. This is your path too. Not the path of the social butterfly, not the path of the people pleaser, but the path of the individuated person who knows themselves deeply and relates to others from that place of self-knowledge. Jung's final insight about intelligent people and isolation is this. Your tendency to distance yourself isn't something to overcome, it's something to understand and use wisely. It's a tool for psychological development, a necessary part of becoming who you're meant to be. The world needs people who have done this deep work. The world needs individuals who have faced their shadows, who have questioned collective assumptions, who have had the courage to think for themselves. But you can't do this work while you're constantly managing other people's expectations or trying to fit into social groups that don't understand you. So tonight, instead of forcing yourself into another meaningless social situation, try something different. Sit with yourself. Think, reflect, engage with your own mind without apology. This isn't antisocial behavior. It's the beginning of true individuation, because at the end of the day, Jung understood what most people don't. The highest form of human development requires the courage to be alone with yourself. And intelligent people don't distance themselves from others because they're broken. They do it because they're becoming whole. The question isn't why you distance yourself from others. The question is, are you brave enough to use that distance to become who you really are?